wine. You can always sell wine. And I wouldn't recommend the most expensive ones because that's a connoisseur. It's a collectible almost. But inexpensive wines are good. Food, well, razor blade, you name it. Just find something and put your money into it. Get it off of that railroad track. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. Having said all of this, I think that for the average person who is not prepared to become a professional in any one of these specialties, bullion is by far the best choice for most people. They don't have to worry about it. All they have to worry about is getting the real thing, which is not difficult to do if you buy it from a respectable source. I don't think there's any coin shop in America that would sell you a faulty coin and say it's gold when it wasn't. And if you really wanted to check it out, you can have it checked independently for a very low amount of money. I think for $15 you can check out just about any purchase you want to make, see if it's really good gold or not. I would recommend for the average person that they put approximately 20 to 30% of their disposable assets into bullion or something related to a hard asset like that. Some people, like myself, will go to a higher percentage. Others don't like to tie something up with no growth potential. And I say that advisedly because you're probably saying, what do you mean no growth potential? Why, gold is growing like crazy, and it's going to grow even more. Not so. Please understand that when the price of gold goes up, that means that the value of the dollar is going down. It's not really growing at all. The reason you put money, or you put your former money into gold, or any other inventory, is not to make money, but just to preserve the money you now have, to preserve the purchasing power of it. And you may get this exhilarating feeling that, oh, look at the price of gold is going up, up, up. Now, it's true that at certain points in that cycle, you could, if you wanted to, take your gold and sell it and make a profit, no question. But on the long term, and we're talking, I think, here about the long term, right? Not what you're going to do from week to week and try and play the market up and down, but you're trying to protect yourself and your family for years and years to come. You don't want to go in and out of the gold market day by day. On the long term, you'll know that at the end of that period of time, the purchasing power that you put into your gold will be retained. You'll still be able to buy approximately the same things with it, even though its dollar value is considerably higher. And all you got to do is think about your house, you know? I think about my little house. I think, boy, back when I got that house, I paid, what, $31,500 for it. Look at all the money I made, right? No. If I sold my house today, at considerably more than that, and I took that money and wanted to go out and buy a car or something else with it, I'd be able to buy just about the same thing that I could have bought with $31,500 back when I bought my house. I didn't really make any money on my house at all in terms of purchasing power, and that would be true of gold. So keep that in mind if you put money, or when you put money into gold or silver. It's not an investment. It's a savings. Very important point. It's savings. That's why I recommend that for most people, only 20 or 30% is a good value, because most people want now to make an investment, right? They want to make an investment. They want to make some money. And before we come to that issue, I'd like to talk again just for a moment about these little silver coins that we have on Libertadens. We made those a few years ago, 3 years ago, primarily as awards to the members of Freedom Force. We thought it'd be nice to have a nice medallion that was of significant value. We made it 1 ounce of pure silver, 0.999, and we covered it with all kinds of symbols of liberty, with a little instruction booklet that goes with it to explain what those symbols mean. Thought of it as being kind of a teaching tool for young people, you know, and older people too. What does this symbol mean? Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. What does this symbol mean? So it's a teaching tool. Well, lo and behold, people wanted to acquire these things as a storehouse of value. They saw in it the possibility of using it as real money, a commodity, a medium of exchange. And so increasingly now we have a demand for the Libertadens as a storehouse of value. So take a look at that. I think you'll like them. We also have a gold Libertatum. We didn't bring any today. I was afraid I'd lose it. But no, those things are getting very expensive now in terms of dollars, but they're the same real cost as they were 5 years ago and so forth. People have asked me if the Libertatums might become collectibles and therefore increase in value, and also maybe be impervious to government confiscation if that should happen in the future. And my honest answer is I doubt it, at least not for a long period of time. I'd like to be able to say yes, but I think right now they should be considered as merely collector's medallions. You know, you can buy them from many mints, a picture of George Washington or a picture of a flower or something like that. These are commemoratives, I think is the proper way to describe them. So I wish I could tell you that they would be impervious from government confiscation because they were numismatics, but, and all that may happen someday in the future, that's not something that you should count on. But they do make great Christmas presents. Every year I give each of my kids 12 of the silver ones, and my daughter mentioned last year, she said, you know, Dad, she was looking at these coins. She said, you know, I just got to thinking about it. You're the only person whose gift that I get, that I remember what I got 5 years ago. And that's all she's going to get for the next 5 years, too. And the one thing I'll tell you, none of the kids have spent them. They've got them all. So they're adding up. They got a nice little endowment there. So I like it. Now, will the gold be confiscated? Will the government take the gold like they did in 1933? Well, Greenspan answered that question. Remember when I read the quote this morning? Here's what he said. In the absence of the gold standard, there is no way to protect savings from confiscation through inflation. There is no safe store of value. If there were, the government would have to make its holding illegal, as was done in the case of gold in 1933. The financial policy of the welfare state requires that there be no way for owners of wealth to protect themselves. So Greenspan has answered the question, at least from his perspective. The fact is that it's possible that holders of gold may find themselves in the future having to make a decision as to whether to comply with the law or become lawbreakers. There's a fellow shaking his head, no. Some people, you know, have trouble with that. They say, I'll never break the law. I have people in my family like that. They'll never cross the street on a red light. It doesn't make any difference. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and there isn't a car in sight, you know? They'll wait for the light to turn green. I'm not like that. But some people are, and I just mention it because you may be confronted with that decision sometime in the future, and the time to make the decision is now, before you start down that path, I think. Now, my personal view on this is that they will not confiscate the gold. I cannot promise you that, of course, but my view is that in 1933, everybody, almost everybody, had gold and silver. It was money. That's what they used for money in those days. It was in wide circulation. And so we were talking about a very substantial quantity of gold and silver in the market, representing a huge amount of the whole economy of the nation. It was substantial. Today, how many people do you know actually possess gold or silver? Not many. I mean, a few gold bugs here and there, people that read my book, things like that. But for the most part, I would guess 97, 98, 99% of the population would look at you like you were crazy if you said, do you have any gold or silver? They'd say, well, what do I want that for? So the amount of gold and silver in circulation today is minuscule compared to what it was in 1933. And therefore, it doesn't represent much of a challenge or a threat to the establishment. And therefore, I don't see why they would want to do such an unpopular thing, which would be recognized as extreme, even by those who don't have gold or silver, I think. It would be too unpopular. So my view is that